everybody, this is Tracy here for another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Being Mary Jane Season 4, Episode 16, which was titled Feeling Ambushed. And I know I was really late with episode 15, so if you were looking for that recap, it went up yesterday, so it is out there. So, wow, this episode was something else. So, Mary Jane is definitely her mother's daughter. Miss Helen, I just don't know what to say about you, but we'll get to Miss Helen later. But if y'all saw the show, she was a little bit off the chain on this episode. So Mary Jane and Justin have given in to their newfound fame, you know, the whole social media sensation around their relationship. And at the end of last episode, these two were ready to shift the focus back to the school board issue, but it may not be working out in their favor just yet. So they're constantly being followed by the paparazzi, and there are articles about them everywhere in the media, and people are just totally fascinated. And then Justin has a friend from high school or college that goes by the name of Chatty Cathy 28 or something like that on social media, and so she's just keeping the conversation going and feeding, you know, into the frenzy, and you know, revealing information about Justin, you know, from his younger years. And so we learned that Justin, through conversations that him and Mary Jane are having, because Mary Jane's like, well, maybe I need to go meet Chatty Cathy to find out more about you. So we learned that Justin was the point guard on the basketball team, that he was crowned the prom prince, and he was class president. So he was pretty busy while he was in school. So Justin mentions to Mary Jane that he doesn't like the term producer babe that they've given him on the show because it objectifies him. And so Mary Jane jumps in and says, okay, well, now you know how women have felt for hundreds of years, and you know, you don't get to pick and choose at this point in the game. So she is just like totally oblivious to how all of this is affecting her man, and she's just so happy that she finally has somebody that's claiming her and saying that they care about her, and they're all out in the public eye, and people realize that she's not a lonely, angry black woman, but that she is a lovable person. You know, Justin isn't too happy, you know, that people he barely knows thinks that they can comment on his life, you know, but Mary Jane tries to convince him that, you know, we're showing people, you know, what a happy, successful black couple looks like when they're in love, and Justin ain't hearing it. He's like, I need my privacy back, and these people are just exploiting us, you know. But like I said, Mary Jane, she's in a world all of her own. So although the public approach is helping Mary Jane's career, Justin spends more time doing photo ops instead of actually producing shows, which is what he really wants to do. That's his passion. That's what he loves to do. But they agreed to tone it down, and then Mary Jane, I think, said that her Snapchats, that she wasn't going to do any more Snapchats, and that after 24 hours, you know, that'll be gone away, and then they can focus on the bigger picture. So the ratings are up, and Garrett is happy, and all that's really all MJ cares about. Like, she doesn't even realize that Justin's career is being hit hard because of all this, because now they're assigning other producers assignments that he normally would have gotten, and so he's kind of feeling bad about the whole situation. But like Mary Jane up here, she in cloud nine through all of this. So then the following day, the fake TMZ, what's that show called? Is it JMZ that they're calling themselves, but they're pretending to be TMZ? So they leaked the story that Justin is a very rich guy, and like they didn't know how many zeros to put behind the number, but I think they said for wherever they got this information or what organization Justin belongs to, that you have to have a minimum of $10 million. But that kind of like opened the door for Mary J to ask Justin about the money, and we're gonna see how she handles that. Of course, Justin is pissed off, because if he didn't want his girlfriend to know about his financial affairs, he definitely didn't want the whole world to know. And then Mary Jane, trying to defend the fact that, what's the big deal that people know. She gets diarrhea of the mouth again and blurts out that it was $30 million. So then Justin is like, hold up, pump your brakes. How do you know it was $30 million? Because the people on the TV didn't say it was $30 million. They didn't even know what the amount was. So I need you to come clean and tell me exactly how you know. So then Mary J was like, okay, well, it was on a piece of paper laying around in your house when I went in there looking for the passport. So he was like, no, that's not how you found it. So she says, okay, well, I was doing a little snooping. Then she goes, well, I was in the closet. Okay, I took a box down at the closet and I read all the stuff, and that's how I came across the bank statement. So Justin is just like, oh my God, like, this is none of your business. Why are you all up in my affairs? So he tells Mary Jane, that he invested in a tech company. It was like a startup company, and, it paid off well. So then later in the show, Aaliyah comes, and remember, Mary Jane had sent her on a fact-finding mission. So she's found out that Justin, made the investment in the tech company, but the only issue is it was an employee stock. So only employees could buy the stock. So now they're trying to figure out, okay, so how was Justin able to get the stock if he wasn't employed there? And oh, by the way, it wasn't just $30 million. It was actually $60 million, and he donated half of it to charity. So looks like Justin isn't being fully honest with MJ, and Aaliyah lets her know not to put her guard down and to be careful and to continue looking into what he did, to get this money and, what's really going on with Justin. And so she may have majorly messed up this time, because of course now Justin is pissed off that she invaded his privacy and went through his stuff. And so he tells her, that they need to keep things strictly professional while they're at work. And then to add insult to injury, Mary Jane is trying to talk to him on the floor before she goes to get in the anchor chair. And then Justin was like, is this about work? And she's like, no. Then he's like, okay, I ain't got time for it. And so she gets in the chair, and Aaron looks over at her because he done peeped what was going on and read the body language. And he says, oh, looks like there's trouble in paradise. Yeah, it is, Aaron. So after their newscast, Cara announces to the entire newsroom that WikiLeaks has announced that a story is about to drop about these French politicians. And so Garrett, wants there to be a team standing by, and I guess she's going to be checking everybody's schedules and everything to see who can go over to France just in case they have to go cover the story. So after the announcement, Mary Jane insists that, her and Justin, they need to talk, and they, don't let this thing harbor. And I'm like, girl, why don't y'all wait till y'all get home at night? Like, why is you bothering this man in the office? And it ain't like it's an office where that there's privacy. You got this big old newsroom where everybody's sitting at these cubicles with these non-walls. Like, I call them non-walls, but they do have walls, but the walls only come up to here. So you can see and hear everything that's going on. So then Justin, he doesn't want to make a scene. So he says, all right, girl, come on, let's go talk. So she tells Justin, I do have trust issues based on my last relationship. And yes, I am nosy. And yes, I be spying and carried on. She says, but you are like an anomaly. You're like my black unicorn. Like, you are the perfect man. You're smart. You're intelligent. You got a career. You got your own money. You're great in bed. And like, I just don't want to mess this up. Like, I don't want this to go away. And so she just can't believe how lucky that she got. So Justin, gives her the passcode to his tablet and then hands her the tablet. And she's like, okay, so what is this for? So he's like, well, here, go through it, see whatever it is that you want, be as nosy as you want to be. So then Mary Jane was like, wow, but she wasn't trying to hand over her tablet. And so she kind of, reluctantly offered to give him her tablet, and then she gave him the passcode. And so then Justin was like, fine. So, he walks out like he gonna go check on the tablet and see what's on there. And I'm sitting there like, okay, I must be having some real serious trust issues, because what you not gonna get is passwords to my voicemail, my email, my tablet, or anything else. Like, especially, no, I can't even say especially if we just met. It just ain't happening. It's not happening. I don't care if we've been married 10, 20, 30 years. Like right now, if I was to die today, nobody would be able to find anything because nobody has access to anything that I have. And I know that's wrong. And I probably need to create a document and give it to a lawyer who would give it to my daughter at the time of my passing. But right now, I just ain't met the man that I'm willing to give that kind of access to. No, not at all. And I'm going to tell y'all. No, I'm not going to tell y'all this story because all I'm going to say is when you go looking for stuff, you going to find what you're looking for and then some, and then I'm just going to leave it at that. And I may tell y'all the story a little later on once we get to know each other a little better. But Justin, he really gave her the iPad to let her know that he has nothing to hide, and he's an open book and she can know whatever it is that she needs to know. So after Justin left out of the office, Mary Jane calls Cara and Aaliyah in and fill them in on what's going on. And so they go into full recon mode because they try to figure out. Mary Jane says that there is no way Justin can see what's on her iPad. So then Aaliyah, she says, oh, but do you save everything to the cloud? And that's another thing I'm not doing. I'm not putting anything on the cloud. So y'all gonna look at there on that cloud if y'all want to. You ain't finding none of my stuff. And I remember I was, somebody had handed me somebody used my computer one time. And so when I went to log into my Google account, their cloud was open. And I just saw some stuff that I didn't really need to see. And I'm just like, I cannot believe people, first of all, I don't believe that they be doing the stuff that they do on their phones and tablets, but then to be putting it on the cloud, especially when you see all these actors and actresses getting hacked and their stuff being revealed. Trust issues. No. Not doing it. So they're trying to delete the text messages, emails, and new photos off of the cloud. So Justin is sitting at his desk, and so he tries the passcode, but it doesn't work. So then he's sitting there like, okay. So then he backs up, and remember they got them low walls in that newsroom, so everybody can see everything. And then the office is like Mary Jane has her own office, so that's like a glass wall, so you can see right into it. So Justin backs up and looks and see Aaliyah and Cara in there, and they hovering together, and he can tell, he figures out that they're trying to delete all the stuff. So Justin, he really gave her the iPad to let her know that he has nothing to hide, and he's an open book and she can know whatever it is that she needs to know. So after Justin left out of the office, Mary Jane calls Cara and Aaliyah in and fill them in on what's going on. And so they go into full recon mode because they try to figure out. Mary Jane says that there is no way Justin can see what's on her iPad. So then Aaliyah, she says, oh, but do you save everything to the cloud? And that's another thing I'm not doing. I'm not putting anything on the cloud. So y'all gonna look at there on that cloud if y'all want to. You ain't finding none of my stuff. And I remember I was, somebody had handed me somebody used my computer one time. And so when I went to log into my Google account, their cloud was open. And I just saw some stuff that I didn't really need to see. And I'm just like, I cannot believe people, first of all, I don't believe that they be doing the stuff that they do on their phones and tablets, but then to be putting it on the cloud, especially when you see all these actors and actresses getting hacked and their stuff being revealed. Trust issues. No. Not doing it. So they're trying to delete the text messages, emails, and new photos off of the cloud. So Justin is sitting at his desk, and so he tries the passcode, but it doesn't work. So then he's sitting there like, okay. So then he backs up, and remember they got them low walls in that newsroom, so everybody can see everything. And then the office is like Mary Jane has her own office, so that's like a glass wall, so you can see right into it. So Justin backs up and looks and see Aaliyah and Cara in there, and they hovering together. He can tell, he figures out that they're trying to delete all the stuff. So before Justin decides to get up and go say something to Mary Jane about not being able to access the iPad, these fools are in her office, and she's like, what should I go for first? Should I go for the dick pics or should I go for the emails? And then it comes out that she has 45 dick pics on her iPad. I'm just like, really, Mary Jane? Like, 45? I mean, are these people that just sent you their pics, or are these people that you have like physically been with and got the pics? I'm real confused right now. So they're, telling Mary Jane, why are you concerned? Because every woman has dick pics on their iPad. That's not true, because this one doesn't. Because I don't even want a picture of a man's penis. And if a guy, like, I have talked to guys before that wanted to send me dick pics, and I'm like, no, that's nasty. I don't want to see that. And you know what? To be fair with you, I don't want you sending me nude pictures, because I'm not getting ready to send you any nude pictures. So we could just cancel that out. And I'm telling you guys, like, this new age dating and associating that's going on is for the birds, because y'all just being team too much out there, just revealing too much, and then revealing stuff with people that you're not even in a committed relationship, just random people that you meet, and you just gonna send them pictures of your body parts. And then let's stick a pin right there, because y'all know how I like to compare these shows that be having the same themes going on. So if you watched Insecure on Sunday night, we had this similar situation where Issa got in the car wreck because she was looking at the dick pic that the guy had sent to her, and she ran into the truck that was in front of her. So now here we go, with the same topic going on. I just really need them to knock it off and stop doing all this cross storytelling that they got going on. So after all the commotion was over with, Mary Jane is in her office when Justin comes in, and so she goes, oh, can I see my iPad for a second? And then he says to her, why? Because you want to delete a few more of those dick pics off. And then she was like, well, how did you know? And so then he lets her know that he couldn't access the iPad, and then he was watching her and the sidekicks trying to delete the info. And so he was a little entertained by that. And then he tells Mary Jane that, he really doesn't need to be exchanging iPad passcodes and stuff and researching and sneaking behind anybody's back, that he likes for his relationships to unfold naturally. And I am team Justin on that. Like, let's have some conversation and some dialogue and get to know each other that way, instead of trying to snoop behind each other's back. So it meant nothing to Mary Jane that he said this, because she was so tempted to look at his info that she was trying to be strong and take his approach and like not be looking for trouble. So she asked Cara, Cara, you take the iPad and hold on to it, and if I ask you for it, don't give it to me. So then Cara said, well, I don't really feel comfortable because you're being mature and acting all adult, which makes me want to check and make sure Justin ain't up to no good. So then they decide to give the iPad to Aaliyah. So Aaliyah puts the iPad in her pocketbook so that they're talking, and the iPad was like flashing like Justin was getting notifications. So then Mary Jane tried to sneak the iPad, but Aaliyah hit her like, girl, stop. So I do like Aaliyah's role. I don't understand Aaliyah's role, like why she all up in Mary Jane's business and walking around the newsroom just like that hairstylist, that they just intermingling. Like, I've never seen that, and I've been to a newsroom before, and I've just never seen the makeup artists and all these people just all being this attached to the news anchors and the producers and all that stuff. And I don't even remember that happening on the earlier series of, the earlier seasons of Being Mary Jane when she was in Atlanta. I didn't remember all this commingling going on. While Justin was in the office with Mary Jane, she showed him a tweet that she had sent out when she said that they were going to this French restaurant. And so he's annoyed again. Like, why would you do that? Now they're going to show up at the restaurant. But she says, oh no, trust me, I got a plan. So she ends up taking Justin's to this Michelin, I think Michelin star rated restaurant that she's rented out just for them to escape the paparazzi. So they have like a really nice evening, you know, and they're reminiscing and talking and getting to know each other. And I think there was a scene where they were like slow dancing together, the only people in the whole restaurant. So wish somebody would do something nice like that for me. So after dinner, you know, they returned to MJ's place, and now social media is saying that the two of them blew the paparazzi off because Justin wanted to escape with Mary Jane so that he could propose. So, you know, Mary Jane just buying into it, but Justin was like, no. So now I got to go buy a ring, and she was like, yeah. Justin was like, you ain't finna get me like that. So the conversation leads to Justin sharing that he's only been in love once in his life, but it didn't work out. So now MJ feeling some kind of way because she's like, you only been in love one time. So I'm thinking what was going on in her head was, number one, that means that you are not in love with me right now. So that was a bummer for her. And then number two, now she's trying to figure out, okay, well, who was this person that was so special, you know, that captured your heart? So she's asking him about the last girlfriend, and he was like, no. And she's like, well, how could you have been with somebody that long and not fall in love with them? And he's like, well, you know, love isn't something that just automatically happens. And so, you know, he's telling her about this girl, and so then she lets him know that she already know about the girl Simone, because remember when she went in that box, there were all these cards and letters that Jason had kept. So she done read all the cards and all the letters. And I don't know about y'all, but if somebody did that to me, like got that deep into my business, I would be infuriated. So to me, that's just like an invasion of privacy that I don't know if I could get over. If I really cared about the person, like if I really loved you and cared about you and trusted you, and then you broke that bond and broke that trust and then just went into the intimate details of my life, I think that would kind of like ruin the trust in the relationship. And I would just feel so, that's so like, if you've ever been robbed before, like I've had somebody break into my house before, and it's just a feeling that you get that somebody has been through your personal things, has been through your underwear drawer, has been, you know, seen your negligees, has gone into your closet and pulled down, like just, oh, it's just an invasion. It's just a feeling that if you've never felt it, you don't want to feel it. But, you know, MJ was just revealing it all, and Justin was taking it in. So they decide to return each other's iPads, and Justin reminds MJ that the publicity is just a gimmick and not their relationship. So when she finally got Justin to open up about the Simone girl, this fool fell asleep while he was talking. So Justin looked over and realized that she was asleep. So he got up and took his jacket and laid it over her shoulder. But I think he realized that Mary Jane has issues, but he seems to be willing to deal with her and her foolishness and her nonsense. So the next day, Cara and Aaliyah come rushing in to show Mary Jane the latest social media uproar that's going on. So it turns out that somebody had released a picture of Simone. And Simone was a little homely girl. And it is just making the news, and people are being so mean-spirited. And Mary Jane, you know, she's feeling bad because, you know, Justin had just told her, like, how much he loved this girl and that, you know, she was the love of his life. And so she's like, oh, my God, you know, people can be so cruel, and this is horrible, you know. So she goes rushing off to look for Justin, you know, to let him know that, you know, she really feels awful about what's going on. But Justin had already seen the pictures, and he looked like he was on the verge of tears, you know, that people were treating this woman like this. And so he lets MJ know that he thinks it was Chatty Cathy who released the pictures, you know, since she being teamed too much anyway. And then he tells Mary Jane that he's officially done with social media, and he lets her know that he had talked to Garrett, and he was going to produce the coverage of the story that was breaking in Paris. And by the way, my car is waiting downstairs, and I'm about to roll. He kissed her on her cheek, and Mary Jane was like, wait, what's going on? But Justin was out. He was done with the situation. So then we had like a little short part that focused on Cara. So Cara, you know, the baseball players are on a 20-day road trip. So Kara, she's taking this as an opportunity to have some quiet time. They enjoy her apartment all to herself. So she's sitting there with some face cream on her face, and she got this big thick bathrobe and looked like might have been some Orlando bedroom slippers. And so there's a knock on the door, and it turns out to be two of the girls. It was Lauren, and then the one girl that I think that she insulted, and so she had to become friends with to make it better when they were trying to blacklist Orlando from coming to any of the events. So they came in and said they were there to keep her company, and tell her that they were sorry for not being there when her dad passed away. So Kara's like, well, I was really enjoying my downtime. So they was like, no, girl, we're going to hang out with you. So she said, okay, well, let me go get dressed. So they said, no, we're going to hang out here in the apartment. And Kara was like, okay, but why y'all dressed like y'all going to the club? So they let Kara know you always got to be selfie ready. Even if you just sitting in the house, you need to be dressed up in case you need to take a selfie. So then Kara's been hanging out, with the ball player wives and everything. And so throughout the whole show, she's been experiencing these hot flashes. And so they're out to dinner and they're drinking and carrying on. So then the blonde-haired girl, the one that she had gotten into it with earlier, spills the beans that Lauren had slept with Orlando before, and it was like in the last baseball season. So then they were sitting there like, what the hell just happened? So then when the other ladies leave, Lauren and Kara get a chance to talk. Told her it was just a one-night thing. It wasn't a big deal. And that she really likes Kara and wants to be Kara's friend. And she hoped that, it doesn't interfere with their friendship and it doesn't impact her and Orlando's relationship, because she's seeing, that Orlando is really happy and really in love, and that Kara has been good for him. So then at the end of the show, we find out that Kara did go to the doctor about her heat flashes, and it turns out that she had been taking sleeping pills to help her sleep, as she was dealing with her father's death. So Kara isn't going through early menopause. She just needs to get off them sleeping pills and stop drinking all that doggone alcohol. So now let's go down to the ATL and deal with Mama Helen, who has obviously lost her mind. So remember when the show ended last week that Mama Helen had then went down to the hotel to see Frank and tell Frank he owed her an apology. Well, when the show opens up with her scene, this time she is talking to the mirror, I think it was, no, she was in the kitchen. I take that back. She was in the kitchen and the phone was ringing, and I was cracking up because, okay, I haven't had a telephone in a really, really long time, but when I did have a telephone, it was like one of those cordless phones and you stuck it down in the little base. Well, at the Patterson household, they still got the phone that hang on the wall, and it was yellow, the one with the long cord, and then you could just like walk all through the house with the phone. So the phone kept ringing, and then she was looking at the phone, wouldn't answer the phone, and then finally Papa Patterson came in and was like, why you ain't answering the phone? So she said, oh, it's just some telemarketers. So he giving her the side eye, and he going on out his business. So next thing we know, Mama Helen then got dressed up, and she's standing in the mirror rehearsing her lines. I was like, okay, she acting like she's 15 or 16 years old, but anyway, she tells Papa Patterson that she got a Jack and Jill or Jack and Jane meeting that she got to go to, and that she'll be gone for a couple of hours. So she goes on over there to that hotel, and next thing I know, her and Frank, they kissing, and then he getting ready to undo her. She had one of them little wrap dresses, so he get ready to unwrap, and she's like, wait a minute now, I'm not as young as I used to be. Things ain't in place like they used to be. So he tell her, well, he ain't as young as he used to be. And y'all, when he took turned her around and was trying to lay her back on that bed, I thought he had done called a spasm in his back and was gonna drop her. I was like, I don't want to see this. Like, I do not want to see this. So I was so happy when the scene cut away, and then when it came back, she was getting up out the bed, because I just didn't want to see that. No. That would be like watching my mom and daddy have sex. Like, No, 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 no. We're not doing that. So, child, poor Papa Patterson. I mean, like, he's a pretty smart man because, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Before they got into the bedroom to have sex, so he had asked Mama Helen, did she want to go get something to eat? So they went downstairs and they had lunch together, and then it was like a band or something was playing. So anyway, they ended up getting up and dancing together. And Mama Helen was like, well, this really ain't the place that we should be dancing, And so he said, oh, no, you dance anywhere. So they go out there and they had a little slow dance. And then he conned her little butt back up there in that hotel room, and that's when they got busy. But back over there at the Patterson residence, Papa Patterson is putting 2 and 2 together. And he coming up with 5, 6, 7, and 8. So when Mama Helen comes back home from her little rendezvous with Frank, Papa Patterson tells her, well, while you was out, baby, I got you a new microwave to match the rest of the sterling silver appliances that we got in this house. That Papa Patterson done followed her to that doggone hotel and knew what was going on. So the next day after her little rendezvous, Papa Patterson tells her that, he done invited Frank over for lunch. So Mama Helen sitting there like, oh, really? So she tried to figure out, like, how boy have lunch with the 2 men that I love sitting here and not give away what I done did, right? So then after Frank leaves, Mama Helen was talking about, how nice it was, and, it took her back in time. And Papa Patterson said, yeah, it takes me back to, all right back to the time when I felt you slipping away from me 40-some years ago. And, oh, you thought I couldn't tell? But I can. So she lets her know you still in love with him. And then he brings up, that, and then he said to her, and I think you slept with him, or did you sleep with him, or something he asked her. But it was so funny because Mama Helen, she couldn't lie. She couldn't tell the man a lie and say that she didn't do it, So she was just apologizing and carrying on and saying that, what did she say? She kept saying, I chose to love you. No man don't want to hear that you chose to love him. He wants to know that you loved him naturally and that you're reciprocating the same love that he has for you. So I'm feeling real sorry for Papa Patterson at this point. And then he turns to her and he says, after all this time, when do I get to be the match to your candle? Because you've always been both for me. I was like, dang. Ooh, that was kind of deep, Papa Patterson. So after he made that little proclamation to her, Papa Patterson walked out the room and went upstairs. And when he came back downstairs, he had a suitcase. So Mama Helen walked over and she was like, Paul, you ain't got to leave. We can work through this. He said, oh, no, this ain't for me. This for you. You got to get up out of here. And I'm just like, Mama Helen, how you gonna tell your kids that your husband of 40 years done put you out because you done went and slept with another man, a man from your past, from 40-something years ago? And I mean, Papa Patterson handled that like a real G. Like he had done went from Papa Patterson to Shaft. And he was like, it's too many fishes in the sea for me to have to be putting up with this mess. And I done gave you all I have had to give you. I gave you my love. I gave you my last name. I gave you these kids. I gave you this house. I gave you a lifestyle. And this is the thanks that I get. So Mama Patterson, I don't know what to tell you. I can't even be on your side, Mama Helen. I can't even be on your side right now. And then this is another one before I go. This is another instance of these shows cross-pollinating here. Because if you watched Insecure on Sunday, Molly found out that her parents, who have been married for 35 years, that her dad had an affair like within the first 5 years of their marriage. Now here we go with the Pattersons and their infidelity. So I can't wait for next week's episode, because if you watch my recap for last week's show, I said that I think Patrick may be Frank's son. And so it was a scene that looks like Mama Helen is telling Patrick that Frank might be his dad. So I cannot wait. So guys, go ahead and leave your comments below. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Rate the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.